this over. All right. Barbara, can you see the title screen? Yes, okay. I'll take the nod as yes. Okay. I know, I do this all day long, you know, it's terrible. All right, then, I think we can get started if the recording is running, and I'll try to extemporize the introduction. Welcome, everyone. My name is George O'Neill. I'm the chairman of the Inland Wetlands Commission for Thompson, Connecticut. Today is December 8th, 2020. And a couple of housekeeping matters to get us started. For those of you that are new to this format, we are conducting the meeting using Zoom, which is, as you may have be aware, a web-based platform that provides you the access of video and audio. Throughout the meeting, we'll be conducting everything on Zoom. If you're presenting information to the commission and you haven't provided it in advance, you're going to have to hold it up to your camera so that we can see it. Also, for the members of the public that are listening in, you know, when you do speak, we'd like you to identify yourself and use your video. However, in the event that you are unable to utilize your video, you won't be precluded from offering comments. As far as citizens' comments go, there's a specific section allowed in the beginning of the meeting for citizens' comments on agenda items. The focus here is for you to comment on the agenda, the upcoming agenda, and offer your thoughts. It's not a point of, it's not an opportunity to argue the case, but it's something to bring to our attention if there's issues there. We take a fairly informal approach to this. I try to take a fairly informal approach to this, and you know, we seek participation. If you are recognized to speak, please, you know, use common courtesy and respect to all these others on the call, and that you know, in the event that we get out of line, then we can, of course, limit participation. I think those are the highlights of Zoom. And with those items being said, I'm going to call this meeting to order. The time is 7:04, and roll call. So I see we have Commissioner Roach. I see we have George O'Neill as is chairman. Do we have Commissioner Chapin? And I don't necessarily see anyone else. Do we have any other?
Fran. Fran's on.
Fran, okay. Thank you, Fran. Commissioner Morano. So we have 4 commissioners. We have a quorum, and it's now also important to appoint the alternates. So I see Barbara Roach is here, and I will appoint her as an alternate for this meeting. Okay, I don't think I missed anything. Let's moving on to the next point. We were going to take and ask if there's any action on minutes of the previous meeting. Does any commissioner have a comment regarding errors or omissions on the prior meeting?
I see Barbara Roach speaking. I see no changes. They look fine to me.
Thank you, Fran.
They look fine.
Okay, and does any commissioner have I hear no objections. Okay, no objections to the minutes. They will stand as read. Moving on to the next section. Citizens' comments on agenda items. Give the citizens a chance. Don't forget to unmute your speaker. I know I sometimes fall victim to that. All right, I hear no requests to speak. Therefore, we'll move on to the next item, which is applications. The first category of applications is old applications. The first old application is WAA 20009, Hallett T. Merrick, 0 Plum Road, Assessors Map 85, Block 52, Lot 12. Construction of single-family home, septic system, and portion of home proposed in 100-foot upland review area. Stamped received on 4/13/2020. Under review, pending receipt of additional information. Wetlands Agent Butts, do we have any progress on this application?
Yes, the
NDDH approval for the septic system came through via email on December 3rd. And I'm still waiting to see, that is a revised drawing from what we originally received. In addition, the engineer was going to have a soil scientist take a look at the Plum Road area to make sure that there wasn't any work in the upland review area for any wetlands that were previously undelineated along Plum Road. So I'm still waiting for some information from him on that. And I'm actually looking for the revised site plans for the septic design that was approved by NDDH. So that's still on hold.
All right. So at this point, we're still awaiting information then.
Correct.
Do we have any mandatory action required by us on this matter, or can we pin it to the next
No.
meeting? All right. Thank you. Moving on to the next item, WAA 20031, Madison Avenue Investments LLC, 0 Madison Avenue, Assessors Map 103, Block 31, Lot 6K, Subdivision Lot 11, driveway, and I lost my train of thought here, and grading for a new single-family home, stamped to receive on 8/3/2020, which is under review. And where do we stand on this one?
Okay, I have received an as-built drawing via email from the engineer, as well as a letter stating that there was no need for any cross culverts. But what I don't have from the applicant is the fact that the driveway has already been partially built before any permit was issued, work in the upland review area. I am going to be sending them a letter asking them to explain what additional work beyond what is shown in the drawing that they gave me of elevations that they want to do in the upland review area. The engineer verbally said to me that they were probably just going to top dress what had already been built, and that there really wasn't much work left to do on the driveway. And the driveway is really the only thing that's subject to the jurisdiction of the commission. I also suggested to the engineer that Mr. Meehan, who represents Madison Avenue Investments, could send me a letter and explain why he ended up partially building the driveway before he got any approvals, given that this was very clearly identified as needing an approval in advance. So that's still on hold, and I will hopefully get a letter out to him in the next couple of weeks asking for an explanation.
Okay, thank you. Any other commissioners? I also want to observe that, for the record, that Commissioner Obert has joined the meeting. Welcome, Charlie. Unmute.
Thank you. I was able to tune in for the end of the discussion on Plum Road. And I apologize for not being nimble and on time.
No worries. Well, thank you so much.
It was the commute. It was all the traffic on the way to the meeting.
Well, we all have we all have our burdens to bear, but thank you, and thank you for joining. Moving on, I hear no other comments about this, so we'll move on to the next item. WAA 20033, Madison Avenue Investments LLC, 0 Madison Avenue, Assessors Map 103, Block 31, Lot 6R, Subdivision Lot 18, septic system for new single-family home, stamped received on 8/12/2020. Additional information received, under review. Marla, where do we stand on this one?
Okay, I did receive an as-built drawing. And I did receive the language for the easement that was filed on the land records in January of this year. In checking with the zoning office and the town planner, it appears that no one has had this easement language cleared through the town council to make sure that it is adequate to meet the needs of the town for drainage easement. Second, in comparing the as-built with the approved drawing, I find that there's some discrepancies between what was approved and what was actually built. And I will be sending some correspondence to the permittee to ask for an explanation of what the differences are and what they mean. The basin was the stormwater management basin wasn't quite built. And at next meeting, I'll give you a map to see what it is I'm talking about. It wasn't quite built at the same correct location. It's just off by a few feet, but there's also some changes in the storage capacity, I think, and I don't know how that affects its function. So I'm going to ask them to provide me with an analysis of the changes between what was approved and what's there now. In addition, I will be forwarding this to the first selectman's office and ask that the town's legal counsel review the drainage easement to make sure that it's adequate to meet the town's needs. Unfortunately, it's already been filed on the land records and along with the maps showing the easement, and the easement is exactly the same as what was in the wetlands application that the town approved. So the dimensions of the easement are correct, but what was built is not quite the same. And I don't know if the language is adequate, so that's on hold still, pending the resolution of those issues.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions, comments? Okay, hearing none. Moving on to the next agenda item, which is 4, WAA 20040, Laura Hauser, 31 Central Street, Assessors Map 116, Block 30, Lot 3A. Reconstruct a single-family home in 100-foot upland review area for Little Pond, stamped received by the town clerk on 9/18/2020 and 10/5/2020 by the Wetlands Office. Additional information received under review.
So I have received correspondence from Daniel Blanchette, the engineer, at the beginning of this month that said that he got a response from NEDH on the septic design, that they wanted some modifications, and he has sent revisions to them. So he said he was going to be sending those revisions to them. So I'm just waiting for a response on what NEDH's opinion about the revisions to the septic design. So this will remain on hold until NEDH comes to an agreement on, or an approval on the design.
Okay, so we're waiting for more information. Commissioners, any comments, questions? Okay, hearing none, we move on to the next item. WAA 20043, Gary Rawson, 0, Loggy Road, Assessors Map 141, Block 17, Lot E. Construction of a new single-family home in the 100-foot upland review area for Aquatic Reservoir. Stamped received 10/29/2020 under review.
All right, on this one, last week I spoke to the engineer for the applicant, Norm Tybo, and this is the design on this one has the house next to Aquatic Reservoir, and then the septic system is across the road on other property owned by Gary Rawson. And it's the engineers reported that NEDH will not approve the septic design until there's an easement given in favor of for this lot upon which the septic system needs to be on his other property. So NEDH approval is still pending on that also.
I see. Thank you. Commissioners, any questions?
Yes, is that the same kind of easement that we spoke of on the previous item? Should that be reviewed
No,
by the town's
it's not
lawyer?
exactly this. No, it is an easement required by the Northeast District Department of Health. It is not one that the town would own. And so there's no requirement for that to be reviewed. Logie Road is a private road. It is not a town-owned road. So it doesn't come to the town at all for the easement.
And if
Had
the
it been
person,
a town-owned road, like, go ahead.
oh, well, had it been a town-owned road, I was trying to listen to you, but
Because if it was a town-owned road, if it was a town-owned road, then yes, we would probably have to make sure that the town was satisfied, the town legal counsel was satisfied with the easement language, but it is not. It's a private road. and it's going to private property.
And if the both lots were owned by the same party, we wouldn't even be looking at it. Is that right? I mean, the Department of Health
No.
wouldn't care at all if it was owned by the same party.
They are owned by the same party, but they're different parcels, so they can be sold
Hmm.
independently. And that's why NDDH
I
wants an
see, I see.
easement.
They want the
for
language in for
the septic on
transfer of
somebody
the
else's.
deed. Yeah, okay, fine.
Correct.
Okay. No further discussion. We can move on to the next item. Old applications. So here we have IWA 20044, Town of Thompson, West Thompson Road, Assessors Maps 48 and 50 blocks 104 and 103 respectively. No lot number. Replace existing culvert carrying Wheaton Brook under West Thompson Road, stamped received 11/2/2020 to be received by statute 11/10/2020. What do we have here?
I believe Janet Brooks is, Janet Blanchette is here to discuss the application.
Okay, Ms. Blanchette, would you identify yourself for the commission and for the record? And we can, I think you have some documents you want me to put up?
Yes, I'm Janet Blanchette from J&D Civil Engineers, representing the town of Thompson on this project. Since obviously West Thompson Road is a town road, it's a municipal project. I think last month we discussed, an overview of the need for the project, that the culvert is undersized, the road is too narrow. We also discussed that we submitted the plans to the fisheries department in Connecticut Deep and designed the inside bottom of the culvert in such a manner that will allow for the passage of fish flow. So between last month's meeting and today, the only difference is the shape of the wing walls at the end. My partner and I were coordinating with the precast concrete culvert manufacturers, and they had some suggestions for simplifying the end walls to make them basically cheaper, easier to construct, and will fit in the trucks for delivery better. So I did make that revision. It affected 2 sheets, and on the 24th, I emailed those to Marla, but I did notice that for some reason they weren't included in those two revised sheets, weren't included in the 71-page PDF. So this afternoon I forwarded them to Marla and George, and that's it. George has it up. You can just see the end wall. The head wall and the wing walls are identical now, upstream and downstream. So that simplifies it. And there's only, 1 bend instead of 2 bends.
And will the finished project be wide enough to allow for bicycles to feel safe?
The actual cross section is going to be widened considerably. Right now, the road at the culvert is only about 18.5 feet wide. Now the pavement itself will be 24 feet wide, and then there will be 4-foot shoulders on either side. So yes, it's going to.
Sure. That'll do it. That'll make it feel good for everybody. All right, I say yes.
So on this, commissioners, other commissioners have questions or observations, comments? So in this case, do we need a approval required? Do we have a vote on this?
George, I think
You can if you want.
Marla, is this the same as recently we were discussing when the Department of Public Works has to do something? They have to do it, and they're letting us know in advance. I didn't see anything in the discussion that causes me to be concerned. I think that the project is long overdue. And if I'm not completely off base, and I have been, but if I'm not, then their plan was just presented and we say go for it. Is that right, Marla?
I have no objection to the issuance of a permit. The design is appropriate. The only thing that you'll need to do, what I'll have to do is when the permit is drafted, is to include those 2 revision pages as from the original ones that were submitted. But other than that, there's not a problem. You could approve it. And I've looked at the water handling plan and I've looked at the site plan. I have found no problem with anything that was in those plans or in the description. And the hydraulics report was submitted electronically. Apparently it went to the first select woman when she signed the application form, didn't get the hydraulic report. So Janet has emailed me the hydraulic report. And so that will be in the file.
Okay, so if I
So
understand it correctly, then
you
we
could approve it today.
approve it. And as the agent, do you see any reasons, do you recommend concerns that we should have that would prevent us from approving it?
No, I do not
No,
see
I
anything.
don't.
at this
I
time.
was disappointed that they didn't do it as part of the whole road project. But I'm delighted that it's being done.
Okay, so it's important to be, it seems like an important item to be done. We've had engineering analysis, we've got the proposal. So do I have a motion to,
I'll make that motion that we approve this for further action.
do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, the motion's been made and second to approve the application by the town of Thompson. And discussion.
Who made the second?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear that.
Who made
Barbara
the
Roach
second?
did
Who
this.
second?
Barbara Roach did, I believe.
Okay,
No, I think it was Diane.
Oh,
it Diane?
Diane, okay. I apologize.
was that you, Diane?
It was not me.
It was
Billy-
Frank.
Yeah, it's got to be that Fran.
I just said it.
Was it you?
Yes, I
Commissioner
just
Moreno?
said,
Okay. It's a little tricky here with the, we don't see you, and so, okay. So the motion was made and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
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 All those opposed? Okay, no opposition. The motion, the application is approved. Let's move on to the next item. I trust you can see the agendas right on the screen?
Yeah, I can see as you're advancing pages.
Yeah, it's kind of heavy on the text, so I'm just trying to, let me move faster here. Okay, is this still the same place? Yeah. Wheaton Brook. Auto material. What slide am I looking for? I can't recall.
Can't help you on this because I don't have it up on my other computer.
No worries. Here we go. Oh, goodness. All right. So permit extensions. Let me maximize my screen here.
You missed one. James Fogarty.
Oops. Okay, hold on. Okay, there we go. Why do we have this issue with the sizing?
Because none of us are computer programmers.
I got it. Okay, thank you. All right, agenda item 7 of old applications is WAA 20045, James Fogarty, 0 Brickyard Road, Assessors Map 38, Block 87, Lot 6. Construction of a driveway in the 100-foot upland review area for a new single-family home. Stamp received by the town clerk on 11/3/2020, issued on 12/3/2020. legal notice to be published 12/11/2020. Appeal period ends on 12/25/2020. So what we have here?
Arla Butt speaking. You saw this last month, but unfortunately there was a complication with getting the legal notice published. So hopefully it will get published next week. And the dates will change, but other than that, it's just waiting publication of the legal notice.
Okay, so no further action required by us at this time then. Moving on to the next
Correct.
items. Any commissioners have any comments or? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to move on to the next item, violations and pending enforcement actions. Is my agenda out of sequence here?
Yes, it is.
So how is that? Agenda, new
There
applications?
were no new
Oh,
applications.
new applications, none. Okay, that's why. Then we have received after agenda was published.
None.
None, okay. All right, now we're on to extensions. All right, the first extension is IWA 20022, includes violation 20042, NOV issued for exceeding scope of permit. Mark Bear, 1227 Thompson Road, Assessors Map 116, Block 24, Lot 10, construct house, well, septic system, driveway, and associated grading. Request to authorize modifications to approved plans. So where does this stand?
So on November 18th, I received drawings from Daniel Blanchette. One drawing containing an as-built of the retaining wall, and then there were 2 sheets of revised plans to modify the original approval. And subsequent to that, I had a chance to talk to Dr. Bear and suggested that if he wants to move forward with the modifications that are shown in the revised plans, that he needed to submit a request for that revision. So the next page down on your Zoom documents, you can see on 11/18/2020 is the email that I got from Daniel Blanchette explaining the changes. And
I have a email.
and shows the 2 drawings. Now, the first drawing that you see is the as-built of the retaining wall.
I want to make it smaller. Just give me a second here. Okay, this is the first document. If you can, everyone can see it. Shows the meander line of the little pond, the site, the retaining wall, I guess out here, and the profiles.
Now, what he has done, he has highlighted in blue the edge of the water, and he shows the retaining wall back from the water at the north end, and as it heads south, it spans out into the water a bit. And so it's actually part of the, it's not a retaining wall, we'll call it the revetment, because that's what he referred to it as. Portions of the revetment extend beyond the property line. And that is the as-built at the time that that drawing was made. And he does show a cross-section. And in his initial discussion, he was saying that from the amount of lake that was not taken, or at least the land that he owned that was not taken, helps to counteract that which was taken in the lake. Now, I know at the time that the wall was being built, we were in a drought situation, and apparently the engineer had not flagged the edge of water. So it's possible that the contractor thought that the property boundary was not where it actually was. But that's not, I can't explain why he would not have contacted the engineer. Mr. Bear is, I believe, in the meeting. And he has also asked, if you go to the next page down, next drawing down.
Yes, I have second. 54. I have slide 54 up.
Mhm. My system's a little bit slower than yours.
It's highlighted
Okay.
in yellow
Now-
or orange.
Yes, he highlighted where the changes were so that you can see whatever is highlighted are things that are different from the original approval, the original approved drawings. So originally there were 3 retaining walls and a revetment. The revetment had no stairs in it. Now there's a proposal to put stairs in the revetment, and he's proposing to keep the revetment where it was built, even though it extends beyond his property boundary. And then in the retaining walls, instead of being concrete block retaining walls, he's proposing them to be boulder walls. And one of the boulder walls will have a set of stairs or granite steps. So those are all the changes that they have from the original approval. And on the 3rd of December, no, excuse me, the 1st of December, I received an email from Dr. Bear that said, per our meeting this afternoon, I'm sending you this email to request that the plan submitted to you on November 11th, November 17th, which actually is the one submitted on the 18th, 2020 be approved as a modification to permit IWA 20022.
Okay. So is there any further comment or are others here to give us additional information about this? What action
Barbara Roach speaking.
is
I'd
Barbara?
like to disagree, if you will, that the property is only, or that there's only 200 square feet. The property is actually being increased by 350 square feet. By the north end, saying that they're giving back, that's not really true, because recorded deeds, the deed for this property will have the property line, whether it be outside of the revetment or inside of the revetment. So that revetment is truly, in my opinion, and correct me if I'm wrong, taking 350 square feet of property that does not belong to Dr. Bear. It's into the lake. And as you can see from the shoreline of the lake on the south end, the revetment truly is into the pond, because the shoreline is not straight as the revetment is. Water bodies don't necessarily go by straight lines, and this one doesn't do that. So the pond is literally losing 350 square feet, and Mr. Bear, Dr. Bear's property, is gaining 350 square feet. Deeded rights are deeded property lines are, those are legal documents, and 20 years from now, that property line will still be the same on the north end of the property. So it's not a give and take situation, in my opinion.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach. Any other commissioner observations or comments or questions?
Mark Bear here. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Bear. Would you like to speak to the commissioners?
Yes, I would.
Yes,
When
please.
this,
Go
when this
ahead.
wall was built, it was built at the water edge. Contractor who couldn't get in the meeting, difficult because nobody's in the meeting. But when the retaining wall was built, it was built at the water's edge. Marlis even sent a letter dated August 21st. Well, actually, sorry, October 29th, saying it was not clear at the time of the inspection that the revetment had been placed beyond the edge of the water. That's where the contractor built the edge of the water. It was a drought, maybe it wasn't, I don't know. But that's what he did. He built at the edge of the water. Same thing that Marla said in her letter. I'm not in, and the three, I just but
You're-
is 200 feet.
Yeah, you're
He's
coming in
charging me
broken
for
up.
engineering. We're trying to work with the town of Thompson. This is getting absolutely ridiculous. The neighbor Harger next door, when he built his retaining wall, didn't even have a permit, I understand. And I'm sure you didn't give him the crap you're giving me.
Okay, well, let's, do you have a subject matter expert to comment further?
Engineering. And he said 200 feet, it was done because it was done in the water. And that's what it was done at. There was nothing to cheat the town out of 300 feet, 200 feet, 100 feet, 6 feet. I'm trying to build a house for my family. This is getting ridiculous. When I had a meeting with Marla, my understanding was this was not a big deal. It should go, it's all explained. You jerked me around 4 months, branches and the weren't there. I have J&D, I have, went there and there. I'm getting really tired of this.
Okay, is there anything else? So you're coming in a bit broken, just so you're aware of this. Your comments are intermittent, but I think we get the gist of it, that you're challenged and frustrated with the process, and that you believe there's an inconsistent message that you received. If I,
There's a real inconsistent message, and the changes are from just doing, instead of doing processed concrete as boulders to make it look more natural for the town, looks more natural for the pond, looks beautiful. I don't know what the big problem is. I suggest people should have something better to do.
all right, I think we get the gist of your position, Mr. Bear. Commissioners, any comments or further,
My contractor's not here because he couldn't get on. He didn't have the link to get on to
well,
explain himself. He's been calling me on the phone, trying to get on. Every
Hmm.
meeting, Marla has sent me a link to get on. This time she didn't bother.
well,
I don't appreciate it.
maybe we could, it is posted on the town's website, and the link is on the
For either one of us.
agenda, But maybe we could send him the link now, if we do have his email.
He'd love to come talk.
Yeah. Okay, do we have his email to send it to him?
I'm looking. Hold
We
on a
don't-
second.
We can appreciate that this platform has a lot of pluses and minuses, and sometimes in situations like this, it may not work as well as we'd like. And definitely,
Give me a moment.
okay, thank you, Marla. So we'll just give it a moment here, pause, and see if we can find it.
I've gotten into my email, and I'm going to see if I can attach the agenda with the link. Hold on a second. Give me a moment more. It's almost there.
Mr. O'Neill, can you
Yes,
hear?
I can.
Hi, this is Dale Harger.
Yes, Dale.
I'm sorry to just intervene briefly. Our wall was built pursuant to a permit that was issued by the town. It was designed by J&D. And I'm not aware of any improprieties associated with our construction of the wall. It was built as designed.
Thank you, Mr. Barker. These certainly, we'll have to look into the record. I think it's, I do point out, it's a matter of record. That can be looked into further, and sometimes.
Not what I was told in my meeting with Marla.
Okay, well,
Was it, Marla?
Hold on a second. I just sent the email to Patrick containing the agenda with the link. Okay? Also, I will comment on Mr. Harger's wall. So when the first information that I had regarding Mr. Harger's wall is I got contacted a number of years ago by a mason who had been asked to rebuild a wall on Mr. Harger's property, and he was in questioning whether or not there needed to be some kind of approval. At the time that I went out and looked at it, Mr. Harger had already built a wall that had failed, and it appeared to be fairly new. So whatever was the shoreline before the first wall that was failing was built, I have no knowledge of. So in order to rebuild the wall, he rebuilt it at the same location as the one that I saw that was there. I have no knowledge of what the shoreline was prior to that first wall being built, but I do believe that it was probably built after the enactment of the Inland Wetlands Act without authorization. But that wall subsequently got designed by an engineer and was rebuilt according to the design. And that's the wall that exists there now. And that is the wall that I first saw that was falling apart because it was improperly designed and installed. So to Dr. Baer's comment, the differences between Mr. Harger's wall and his wall is that there was no data about where the shoreline was before the Harger wall was first built. I don't know if there was a wall and he just replaced it at the same location. I have no knowledge of that. But I do know that when it was rebuilt at the same location that it originally was when I saw it. In this case, there was a property line identification, and it was clearly on the plans. And it was said that that's where the revetment was going to be. And that's the difference, is that the contractor actually had those plans, and instead of building a straight revetment, he could have built it going along the shoreline. So my advice has been to the commission that I don't have any problem. The wall that's built there now was well built. I saw some of the construction. I don't have any problems with changing from a concrete block wall to a boulder retaining wall. But as far as the revetment goes, any portion of the revetment that is located beyond the identified property line, I don't believe the Wetlands Commission should authorize. But I don't necessarily think that the commission should pursue anything beyond just not authorizing it and leave it in limbo. I am not a lawyer, and I don't know whether or not the deed changes, whether the property line changes with the land changing. So that would imply that during times of low flow, meaning when the lake was down, that the property line would be farther out. And if the water table was high, then the property line would move in. But those are legal questions that I can't answer. So my recommendation to the commission would be that any portion that the commission approve the revised drawings, but that as a modification to the permit, except that any portion of the revetment that is located beyond the identified property line be denied and no further action be taken on it.
Okay. Another point, if I could, were you able to have the gentleman that Dr. Baer referenced as his subject matter expert, was he able to join us?
He says he can't get in on the link that was sent to him.
Okay. That's unfortunate. Well, I'm sorry
He's
that
calling
you
me
hear
on my
that.
phone.
Yeah. You should be able to dial in. Can you just dial in with it and speak? Isn't that an option there? I had the.
You have a number? Yeah, I'll give it to him.
Do we have a number that we can just dial in on, Marla, if you don't have the link?
It's in on the agenda. It's listed right in on the agenda. If he opened up the document and saw the link, then he should also see the phone numbers for the Zoom meeting.
Yeah, let's find that. It's going to be
And
here.
he can call in.
Agenda, here it is. Let me just pull it up. I don't know if that's on the screen or not. Let's It's on the bottom of my page. All right, so the telephone number is which agenda item? I've got ID, passcode, mobile, dial in by location. All right, so we use what? There's an awful lot of numbers there, Marla. Washington, Chicago, New York, Tacoma. Which number do we use?
Amy would have to answer that. I don't know.
Okay. There's a meeting ID. I've got that. I've got a link.
Hi, George. This is Amy St. Ange.
Hi, Amy.
So I was pulling it up too. He can dial in with any of those locations, especially if he's using a cell phone, because then it won't be a toll call.
Great.
And then he would just, I believe, punch in the meeting ID and then the passcode.
All right. So we'll just give him one. How's that? Dr. Bear, if you will work with us here. I'm going to use the Washington, D.C. number. It's there'll be one area code 301-715-8592. I'm going to repeat that. That's number 301-715-8592. That's the number. Then there's a meeting ID. And I'll state it. It will be 898-4801-0838.
You
And
gotta do it slower. You just-
okay, I'm sorry.
Jesus.
All right, so what are we up to the meeting ID?
I need the ID, yes.
Okay, 898
Yep.
4801
Mm-hmm.
0838. And the passcode is 197368. So
Give it to him.
we'll give them a pause here to get in there. So why are there two sets of meeting ID numbers, or are they the same? I guess they're the same. They're just published twice.
George, this is Amy St. Ange. I have a quick question about this.
Yes, Amy.
Because obviously over the months I've watched this come before the commission over and over again for various issues. So is this retaining wall or revetment, as you refer to it, is it entirely built at this point?
I'll defer.
Yes.
Yes.
And so Marla, to question you, what you're suggesting is that you approve, except for the portions that might be in the water at this point because the water levels have risen? I just need to understand.
My comment is that this original site plan showed the property boundary as being at the water's edge at the time the survey was done.
Right.
And that was the property boundary identified, which was authorized by the commission. So the revetment, the toe of the revetment was supposed to be on the property boundary line.
Mhm.
But what happened is that the revetment extends beyond that identified property line on the plan. And it shows up on the as-built drawing, and it also shows up on the drawing showing the changes as extending beyond the identified property boundary line.
Okay.
And it was very clear in the permit. The permit had a condition on it that said that because there was concerns about the building of the revetment, that no other work could occur on the site until an as-built drawing was submitted to the commission, and that the commission approved it. And this was the reason why an as-built was requested, was because there was concerns that it might not be the same as what was originally approved.
Okay,
And so the as-built drawing shows that it was not located where it was shown on the original drawing. It was shown, it's now at a slightly different location than what was shown on the original drawing.
okay, thank you for that clarification.
And the revetment is completely built except for the stairs that are proposed.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Bear, were we able to track down our advisor?
I gave it to him. I'm gonna ask.
Yeah, you're cutting out on us.
I gave him the information, told him to call in, gave him all the numbers you gave him.
Okay. All right. To follow up, if I could, on what Amy's question was to Marla. Marla, is this? Would you attribute the differences here to principally water level changes and good faith estimates by the subject matter experts to come up with the right location, but unfortunately, Mother Nature has a habit of changing on us. Is that what we've got here, or is it just usual and ordinary slight modification or errors, or not an error, but variance in construction? Any ideas along that line?
Initially, I felt that part of when I first saw the wall being built, which started from the north end and went to the south, I would agree that it could have been started based upon what the lowered water table was. However, when he got to the lower end, the water table was rebounding, and it was very clear on the site plans that the shore was not a straight line. There had some bends, slight bends in it. And I think he just chose to build a straight revetment and went beyond the property boundary line.
Okay, I see. All right. So where do we go from here?
Well, I think this is where we were talking about moving to a conditional approval.
Right.
That's Diane Chapin, by the way.
Thank you, Diane.
Barbara Roach speaking.
Yes, Barbara.
What kind of precedent could this set for other property owners on the pond? If this wall can take 350 square feet, this is all going to be public information. Could this set a domino effect, if you will? It's by setting a property or by setting a precedent that it's okay to go into the pond with walls. A lot of walls on the pond need rebuilding. Where do we go?
Yeah. So it's a practical solution, though. I mean, the wall, it's constructed. What are the remedies? I guess if we had to look at it from a decision tree standpoint, what is it? Leave it as it is, A. B, tear it down or modify it to make it fit, or find some other alternative. It seems like there's not a whole lot of, what are the choices here? There's also the proposed suggestion by Diane for the conditional approval for what was done. 300 square feet across a frontage of, is it something in excess of almost 160, 170 feet along the pond?
230 feet.
Okay, so 130 feet. So, it's certainly when you say 30 square feet, it's not insignificant, but when you look at it in the scope of the overall site, it certainly seems to be, some would say probably a de minimis amount. Being practical, what the alternatives are. Is there any? I'm trying to find remedies here that work to Commissioner Roach's comments, where you're right. If it works for one home, it works for. It establishes a standard. That being said, if we confine it, I guess we could look at maybe, what's the future impact? I mean, we're looking at activities within the wetlands, the upland wetlands here in the wetlands. What impact will that have? I mean, not, if we step away from the pure, it took so many square feet or modified it, and the water level had some part in that, then what's the ultimate effect on the pond? Is it
I
going to?
think Daniel wrote a letter saying there was no effect on the pond.
Thank you for bringing that up. So you've got, subject engineer saying it's not going to have a material impact on the, the current practice long term. I don't have that letter before us, so we should probably consult it. But what's the practical solution here for, a homeowner that's put in substantial value and effort and cost to, build a home? Looks like they've tried to make some effort to comply with the many restrictions, and certainly working around wetlands is no minor issue. Any commissioners have any?
George,
other-
I'd like to,
Yes, Marla?
respond to Barbara's concern.
Thank you.
The error, most likely, that the commission may have made, not just having, while there was an as-built asked for, in the future, there should be a requirement that the wall or revetment be identified by a land surveyor in advance and marked, because it wasn't marked. And since water bodies like Little Pond go up and down depending on what the beavers are doing and not doing, or what a drought is doing, it does lead to that. That problem of where was the property boundary actually. If the land surveyor who surveyed where the property boundary was at one time doesn't go back out and remark it so that the contractor knows exactly where it is, the contractor could be misled to know where it was. The problem with this site is it has a bad history, and it kind of lets people think that if you just go ahead and do it, then ask for forgiveness later, that somehow you'll get through it. In this particular case, Mr. Bear has applied for a building permit. I have not signed off on it and have refused to sign off on it because the as-built came back with these problems. I don't think that there are times when, I do think there are times when people do things, if they did it with knowledge, with clear knowledge that they were thwarting the law, basically thumbing their nose at the commission, or that in those cases you could issue a cease and desist order, which goes on the land records and stays on there until it's complied with. So you could have that would be a marker for any future owner that there was a problem with the property, so that if it was being misrepresented. Yeah, there is a problem with people going ahead and building walls. We saw that with Mr. Jasmine on Quatic Reservoir. When I asked him why he came in with a wetlands agent approval to do some work on his house, and then when he wanted to put a foundation underneath it and wanted to modify the wetlands agent approval, that's when I saw the wall, and the wall had been built months before. And I asked him, why did he build the wall without coming to the Wetlands Commission? And he's just said, well, everybody else is doing it, so why can't I? And that's a case where Quatic Reservoir is drawn down so that they have a 15-foot or so flat open area. So the people would think, oh, I can build something out here, and it's not going to cause any problem. So the part of it is an education problem, and part of it is trying to stay on top of it when somebody starts going, to get those complaints to come in so you don't get things going very far along. I mean, I look at Mr. Harger's wall that he built. He built his first wall without permissions. Maybe he didn't know. But then to rebuild
That's his
it, he
profession.
needed permits.
His profession is real estate,
Whether it's his profession or not,
legal real
whether
estate.
it's
He should
his
know better.
profession or not,
I don't know better.
whether he,
I'm just trying to hire
I don't
people to
know
do
where the
stuff.
original, I don't
He
know
just told
where
you he
the
had no
original
problems, didn't he?
shoreline was. Maybe there
Okay,
was a
one at a
wall there
time, please.
before,
One at a time.
and maybe he built it exactly where it was.
Okay. Thank you
It's
for the,
difficult, Barbara.
Yeah.
I think it would cause more damage to try to move that wall back than to leave it where it is now.
So based on this,
Not damage, it would cause a problem.
and I guess the long-term effect would be, what's the long-term benefit, utility of doing so, right? So do we have some options here then? So Marla, do we say the choices for the commission are what? Approve it as it is?
I'm gonna
Or-
make, this is Diane.
Yes, Dan.
Marla, can I go ahead and make the motion? It's Diane
Sure.
Chapin. I'm gonna move to conditionally approve the request for modification to permit IWA 20022 by Mark Bear for construction of a revetment and 3 retaining walls as shown on plans entitled Site Development Plan prepared for Mark Bear, 1227 Thompson Road, Thompson, Connecticut, prepared by J&D Civil Engineers, LLC, 2 sheets dated June 15th, 2020, revised 2020 11/16, and stamped received by the Wetlands Office November 18th, 2020, and at the same time to deny any portion of the revetment and associated fill that does not exist on Dr. Bear's property on the basis that Dr. Bear has failed to show that he has any rights to maintain those portions of the revetment and associated fill.
So that's a motion. We have a motion. As outlined, a conditional acceptance, which is sort of in middle ground here between approval and not approving it, conditionally approving it. Do I have a second to that motion?
This is Commissioner Morano. I'll second that motion.
Okay, so I have a second. A proposal, a modified, a conditional approval, and a second to it. Do we have discussion? Commissioner Obert? We may have lost Commissioner Obert. Commissioner Roach, any further?
I guess the only other question I have is, can we expect that construction will continue like it shouldn't have after or before the as-built? I mean, there just seems to be continual problems with this property. And I don't think there's anybody that doesn't want Dr. Bear to be able to build his house. It will be a lovely addition to the pond area. It just continually, there's problems that keep arising, and it's an, oh, by the way, shouldn't have happened, but it did. Let's move on. And I, as a commissioner, am bothered by that, if you will. Construction was supposed to cease on November 10th. Mr. Wall said the revetment was 100% complete with the understanding, he should have had the understanding that no further work was allowed on site. Boom, November 11th, the construction equipment was out there and the work was going on. It just seems to be continual that if we agree with this, what's next?
Thank you.
And Barbara, is Diane. I agree with your assessment of the this whole entire process, but I'm looking at it in terms of where we are and what conditions, we can accept and can't accept. I don't think anybody was pleased by the fact that the last meeting we said no further work will be done, and then the next day there's work being done. And quite frankly, I'm not pleased by the verbiage coming forth from Dr. Bear. However, I do think it's time to deal with this and approve this, as I stated, because that's, the part that's based on Marla's expertise, based on the plans that are submitted, based on the engineering. That's why I read the request. It's not because I quote unquote want to, it's because I think that we should at this point.
Okay. Any other comments? We can go to a vote. All right, then, commissioners, I'll just read them out and ask for your decision. Commissioner Roach?
I vote yes with conditions.
Yes, with conditions. Okay, as per read, as the conditions as read, correct?
Correct.
All right. Commissioner Obert? Okay, he's apparently,
I don't see him online.
yeah. All right, then, Commissioner Chapin?
Yeah, yes.
Yes. Commissioner Morano? Fran? Do we lose Fran as well?
Yes, with conditions.
Okay, there she is. Yes. So, and I will vote yes as well. So, the vote was taken. All those that voted were in favor. Commissioner Obert, we weren't able to hear from him. And so therefore the proposal as amended, again, a conditional approval has been granted here in this case. Do we have to restate it, or is that sufficient? I know that it was pretty well detailed when we made the proposal. Marla.
Marla Butt speaking. I will draft the modification for the permit and process it within the next week or so.
All right, so
And
hopefully,
the building permit is pending in the building office, awaiting my signature, which I will put on that at the time that I get back into the office, which probably won't be until Thursday.
all right. Well, Mr. Barry, it looks like we've been able to advance the process. I trust that this will enable you to move forward with your project. And, you know,
Again, anything, what does it mean? I don't understand.
I'm sorry, we didn't hear you.
Does that mean he can finish the granite stairs, which I paid $1,000 for in the wall? Start with the rest of the things so I can possibly get a house foundation in this year? Or it means I still have to wait?
Oh, that's a great question.
Marla Butt speaking. Yeah, the stairs can go in, the retaining walls can start being built because they don't require a building permit, but the foundation cannot be started until you get your building permit.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
And please tell your contractor to be mindful and careful of his neighbors.
I think he's trying his best.
All right.
Some neighbors are very hard to get along with.
Well, all right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Let's move on to the next item here. We've got violations and pending enforcement actions, I believe. Let me see if I can move off my, so item G, cease and restore order. That should be the next item. We have Scott Josie. It's violation 20003, Scott Josie, 637 East Thompson Road, Assessors Map 154, Block 5, Lot 14. Filling of wetlands and work within 100-foot upland review area issued 3/5/2020. Hearing decision 3/10/2020. Soil scientist report submitted on 5/10/2020 and approved, and to be work completed by 9/15/2020.
Just to make it a little easier for all of the commissioners, all three violations, pending violations, I have taken no action on any of them. So there's nothing to report on any of them because I haven't been out to done any site inspections. So the answer is there's no news.
No news on that one.
Three.
On these three, that's violation 20003, 20013, and 20033. Josie,
Correct.
Martin, and Burlingame. Okay, I'm going to try to pull up the agenda item here.
Correct.
I just have to reconnect my screen. There it is. All right. I think we're at, what slide were we on? 50 something maybe?
Can't help you, George. I lost my place.
No worries. I'll get there. I can go pretty quick. I just give me just bear with me if you will. H, E, F, G, H. Okay, I think I'm there. Violation of pending enforcement, we are past those. All right, I found it. I don't know why this is not maximizing, but that's okay. Sorry. All right. All right. Other business, looks like item H. Status of
Um,
revisions, anything else? here?
Marla Butt speaking. Yeah, I'm going to solicit, I'm going to be asking for assistance to review and provide feedback on a draft that I'm in the 3/4 of the way developed on water resources for the plan of conservation and development, which is supposed to be finalized by the end of this year, and it goes for 10 years. And it's to assist the town in maintaining its conservation and also guiding its development in the future. So I know George took a crack at it initially. And I've been trying to pull in many aspects, not just of wetlands and watercourses, but many aspects of water resources that should be addressed in the plan of conservation and development. So part of this is an education for the public. So I have sections drafted already on dams and flood management, which are not necessarily wetlands or watercourse regulations, with issues that rise up in that. For example, FEMA is going to be redoing the FEMA
Flood insurance,
floodplains.
right? The flood insurance rate
I
map.
also have yes, the mapping that they did. I also have a section on drinking water supply in Thompson. Another one on water quality, because the town has a sewage treatment plant which was put in to improve water quality in the French River. It also it has a consent order that it would have entered into in 1984 regarding Marianapolis, which has resulted in the problems with trying to hook up the sewer from Marianapolis down through the entrance and exit ramps to I-395 from Route 12. And that hasn't been resolved. And we have MS4 issues that are new. Those are the storm sewer systems that Public Works has to deal with for maintaining water quality. And then we have the overarching wetlands and watercourse regulations. And that's the last piece that I'm working on, and it shouldn't take me too long to finish that, where I'm going to be recommending that there, in the next 10 years, there be a re-inventory of the significant wetlands, because there's been changes in the environment from when the original one was done back in the 80s. What I need help on is, I do not want to just submit this to the committee, and there's a group of people that have been moving forward and trying to develop this, but I would like to get feedback from the Wetlands Commission regarding how I've organized it. Did I miss anything that they think it should be included? So I'm asking for volunteers to review and give me editorial feedback on the draft for water resources, which is section 13 in the plan of conservation and development. But it has to be done on a fairly quick turnaround time, within a week or so. And wondered if anybody would be willing to volunteer to do that editorial job. Any takers? Oh, by the way, Fran, I did get the map that you sent to me on the geology of Connecticut, and I'll be talking to you further on that.
Yeah, I was going to come and see you next week anyhow.
Okay.
Well,
Would you be willing to review and editorialize the?
I'll talk to you about it then.
All right.
And Marla, it's Diane. I mean, depending on the scope of it, I would be willing to help as well. I don't know how much I can add, but I can.
Currently, it's at about. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't know how much I can add, but I can certainly edit.
There's plenty of work. There's plenty
Yeah,
of
I've
material to
gone
edit.
back and forth, yeah, and
Not going to be
organizing
offended
it,
if you want
making it
somebody
so
with
that it
more
flows.
wetlands knowledge than I have. So just take it for what it's worth.
No, I want somebody to look at it who doesn't have a lot of knowledge and who says, this doesn't make any sense to me,
I'm your
or
girl.
this doesn't read well.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the challenge we run into in all these issues.
It'll be about, at this juncture, it looks to be about 10 to 12 pages, double spaced.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
As long as you can get it to me in the mail, email, that is.
Right.
Yep,
But so far,
I
so
can do
good.
that.
Yep.
Okay. You all set
Okay.
on that?
Thank you.
Other business, POCD is done.
Yep.
Let's move on to the next item here, which is budget.
I'm your girl for that
budget.
too.
Okay.
All
let's
right,
have it.
Commissioner Chapin, we've expended 8954, which looks to be advertising and office supplies look like they were in the way of face shields. And we have an available budget of 15,869.11, having expended 38.5% of our budget.
Okay, 38%. I guess we're making we're in good shape then. Wetlands agent report. Do we have to vote on the budget?
Negative.
No, nothing. Just a report. Okay. Wetlands agent report.
Okay, regarding updates, there's been no change in the status of the court appeal on River Junction Estates, nor has there been a change on the MS4 annual report or the pre-1990 file destruction. Nothing's happened there. Regarding North Grosvenordale Pond Dam, First Selectman St. Ange reports that DEP is pursuing the matter and Centerville Bank is working to address the problems at the dam. According to documents that were filed on the land records, the owner would be Thompson Dam LLC, which Wyndham Properties North LLC is a member, and whose address is the same as Putnam Bank, which is a division of Centerville Bank. A lot of LLCs in there. Regarding follow-up in inspections, no site inspections were performed this month because of a week of quarantine, waiting for a COVID-19 test result. There was 3 people in town hall that came down with COVID. And I was in contact with one of them. So that's why I had to wait and take a test. And I have been working on drafting of the water resources section of the plan of conservation and development. And that's been consuming a lot of my time because I've had to do some research on that. I have a new complaint, 2018. There's a structure being built in Jerry's Swamp. On November 27th, I received emails from a steward for the Wyndham Land Trust with pictures showing a structure that was still under construction and suspended on 6 piers that appeared to have been driven into the swamp bottom, apparently with access gained through the land trust's property. This complaint is under investigation and to determine who is responsible for the construction. It's not clear whose land it actually is on, but somebody's building a pretty hefty structure there. And that would be subject to regulation by the commission. Permit IWA 19004, that is Strategic Commercial Realty's property there on 363 Quatictown Farm Road. On November 23rd, I received an email from Dr. Kathleen Godzik reporting she witnessed silt and water runoff from the gravel property going to the nearby pond, browning out the pond. While I responded that I couldn't inspect it until the following week, the zoning enforcement officer, Cynthia Dunn, did inspect the site and found that the silt fence had been removed by the pond's owner without Strategic Commercial Realty's permission. Strategic reinstalled the fence, and then on December 7th, I received an email from Strategic stating that the reinstalled silt fence blew over in the high winds on the 5th of December, and it was repaired on the 7th of December. And A site inspection will be done as time allows and as long as there's no snow cover. Apparently, some of the vegetation is starting to grow, but it hasn't completely grown in. On permit IWA 17001, Madison Avenue Investments LLC. That's the drainage system for the Madison Avenue. As part of my review for application WAA 20034, which we talked about earlier in this meeting, the development of Lot 18 in the subdivision, I requested from the engineer, and on November 4th, received via email an as-built drawing of the constructed drainage system on Lot 18 and the easement language for the lot. There are discrepancies between the approved plans and the as-built drawing, and I'll be contacting the permittee to provide an evaluation of the differences to determine if there is an adverse environmental effect. I'm also seeking confirmation that the easement language, which has already been filed on land records, is acceptable to the town, as there appears to have been no advance review or approval by any town office prior to the filing of the language on the land records. There were only 4 building permits reviewed. By the way, it appears as though I got only one new application last month, which was not, by the way, wasn't reported. It was a wetlands application 20026, Fred and Josie Rogers. That's a new home that's being proposed on New Road in the Strategic Commercial Realty subdivision that they had. That was next to Don Pimentel's property. Which is court in litigation on Star Road right now. I don't have any miscellaneous items, and as she said, I asked for a Z shield. That is a shield that goes in front of the face and it sits on the chest as a COVID protection device. It's kind of interesting. And then, of course, the legal notices that we paid for and encumbered. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of our wetlands agent, the report? All right. Do we have, okay, of course I lost my place again. We're moving on to correspondence. Is there any other correspondence?
I believe I identified 2 items of correspondence in the Zoom documents. One is the Connecticut Wildlife, and the other is the ECCD letter that was dated. It went, by the way, originally to the Conservation Commission inappropriately. They're looking for their support for the next fiscal year, and they forwarded their annual report. That is in the next page down that you see on the screen. There is a link in there if you want to view it online.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's too large to include in the Zoom documents, but if you want, you can view the annual report on their website. With respect to the Wildlife magazine, I don't know if that's posted online or not, but the hard copy is in the office. And if you want to see it, just stop by. Let me know you're coming, though. That's all there was for correspondence.
So looking for $1,000 for the next budget?
Yep.
Do we normally contribute to this?
Yes.
So that's within our spending ability.
Mhm.
All right. So do we anyone object to providing the support to the ECCD? Well, I recommend we do it, unless there's an objection.
The budget cycle will be starting probably next month.
Right, for the next budget.
Usually it starts in December or January. So I would expect it to be next month.
Okay, so we'll pen this until
On
then.
next month's agenda.
Next month. All right, so hopefully it'll be positive. Here's the rabbit. Okay, very pretty. Okay, signing of Mylars. We have a subdivision plan prepared by Gloria and James Fogarty. Capitolic Road, Thompson, Connecticut. We have a conceptual subdivision approval. SUB 20039 approved on 10/13/2020. So we need to have those signed. You need me to come over and sign those?
Yep, I can either drop by your place to sign them. The only difference is I did include the plans in here. The plans that they have submitted on the Mylars are all exactly the same except for sheet 2. If I recall correctly, you've got both sheets there.
Yes, we
And
do.
there's a notation for, yeah, there's a notation for what the change was. It had to do with a zoning, a requirement to put something on for zoning.
There's a lot of
And
sheets
so
here.
if
I've
you
got like
look at
3
the 2
sheets.
sheets,
We have several sheets here.
there's 4 altogether.
Right.
There's 5 because I included the extra sheet that was changed. So if you look at,
Which one? We've got, which one of the 5?
it's not a substantive change.
Okay,
These
so
are actually the Mylars,
oh, these are the Mylars here? This J&D data compilation map?
except for one. Yep, except for one map, which has a different revision date. I believe it's map 2. If you
Map
look
2
at the
September
revision date
2nd.
for,
Right, September 2nd, 204 sheet.
yep, and then go to the next sheet down.
It's September 2nd.
Okay, so it's not sheet 2, it's got to be sheet 3.
That's
That
September
has a
2nd.
different revision. Yes. Yes, see, sheet 2 doesn't have a revision on what we received, what we've reviewed.
Okay, so
Sheet
which one
2
should
of
we?
4 has no revision in,
Okay, so which one should we be looking at?
unfortunately, I wished I had my Zoom wait a minute, I do have Zoom documents. Hold on a second.
So the first one's an
Tell you what it is.
overview, is the data compilation map. The second is the September 2nd, 204. Shows both lots. Third is September 2nd, 204.
It's,
That must be the amended one. Because it
the
doesn't.
amended one is, yeah, it's sheet 2 of 4 is, in the Mylars, it has a revision date. And it states what the revision was for. You can look at it,
I'm on slide 67
but
here.
there is no substantive, it's not a substantive change. They said set IRs. I don't know what set IRs mean. I'm assuming that may be something to do with the survey.
Mm.
I don't know what an IR is, but there's no substantive change with respect to what the Wetlands Commission
I'm gonna say
approved.
iron rod,
Okay.
but I just made that up, but that's what comes to my
Oh,
brain.
I thought as a realtor you would know.
Oh, it makes sense. A set iron rod.
All right, great.
I'm trying to still find it on the sheets, but
Well, it's an IR find at the end of on lot 16A, where it's indicated on the it would be on the south side, south corner, that overlaps the limit of the wetland soils. If you look at that with my, I can put my little cursor marker here. Down here is an IR find, if that's what it is. Maybe if they set them, that means they installed them, right?
Yep.
And here's another one
I
here.
would think so.
There's another IR find there. If I'm looking for IRs. Anyway, all right, so as you point out, they added something. Let's see if it was on the predecessor one. And it was on the other one too. There's an IR set, but oh, I see. And the one before, it wasn't on there. You can see the, here's the prior screen. For some reason, I don't want to move. So you have, it's one here. one there, one here, one here, and this is on September 2nd, sheet 204. We move to the next one.
Yeah, but that's the revised sheet.
That's the revised one. The first one was missing one. See? These are missing. They didn't have them. So are you saying they just as a
Yeah,
type, not
okay.
a typo, but a clarification? So here you have it indicated, and here you don't.
Right, that's
Right.
why I think they revised it to include it.
They just added it. In other words, it's a, lawyers would say it's a Scrivener's error. They just corrected it or something, right? All right. So do we have any action required by us or
So,
simply?
no, other than just that you find it to be the same, and I find it to be the same except for that one notation. So there's no reason not to sign the Mylars, and it has to be done in, what did I say? Sharpie.
Great. So bring your
So I
Sharpie.
will I'll contact you later. Yeah,
Sure.
I'll contact you to arrange a time and date for the signing.
Great. Okay, so this is just a correction there. No big deal. It doesn't appear to be. All right, moving on. We have comments by commissioners. Any comments? Diane? Everyone's muted, I see.
No, I'm all good.
I would like to say something regarding Charlie, George, I'd like to say something regarding the conditions at Town Hall.
Yes, please go ahead.
They don't think that the original person who got COVID was hospitalized and was in intensive care for a period of time. It's my understanding they're out of the hospital now.
That's good.
And they're getting better. We now have detailed tracking. So if you come to the office, you will have to sign in, put your time in and your time out, because then if somebody gets sick, they'll have an ability to do contact tracing a little more detailed. I even, as going from one office to another, have to sign in and put my time down and sign out. So the protocols are changing a little bit, and I'm hoping to be able to work a little bit more from home, but it hasn't worked out that way. There's just been too much stuff with the plan of conservation and development, and I've got to get back to the regulations and get that going. But some of that can be done from home to research I think the only thing left on the regulations revisions are the fees. And we had talked about it last year, almost a year ago now, maybe. And so that needs to be finalized as to how you want to handle the fees. So it may be worthwhile to consider a subcommittee to look at that. I did some survey work some time ago, but I'd have to do it again. And as you can see from my reports, I haven't been getting things done. And I keep putting stuff off. It's, the file destruction hasn't been going. I haven't finished the annual report for the MS4. I've been working on this plan of conservation and development. It just doesn't, it seems to keep going and going. And I thought by now that things would have slowed down, but it's only just been in the last week or two that I think the contractors are finding construction materials are getting very expensive. And so I think you're starting to see a slowdown as winter comes to ground freezes. It stops a lot of work. So
Well, thank
I'm
you for
feeling a
sharing
bit
that.
overwhelmed.
Okay. Well, I think the PRCD could probably you could take a slow walk on that one. That could save you some time. It's although it's important, I don't know if it, given the nature of the 10-year long-term view, it's I think a lot of it tends to be aspirational, but I've been on several of those calls. They're productive, but I keep wondering, who's going to read it. If you're going to make it too long, 200 or 300 pages, then it'll be a challenge. All right. Thank you very much for that. Do I have if there's nothing, is there anything else? Any other comments, commissioners? If not, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Just Diane again. I did see on the legend, it does say iron rod set, so I do think that is the correct thing. And with that, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, I have a motion. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No opposition? Okay, this meeting is concluded.